Good morning. እንደምን አደራችሁ? I think we should start. We're sorry for being late. Some of the people who are coming here were stuck in the Addis Ababa traffic jam. I think some will be joining us in a few minutes, but we have to start. So for your information, we have interpretation from English to Amharic and Amharic to English. So you can use the headset if you want interpretation. በአማርኛ መስማት ወይም መናገር የምትፈልጉ ከሆነ ቀጥታ ትርጉም ስላለ መጠቀም ትችላላችሁ። This opening session was supposed to be chaired by Dr. Ahmed Hussein, who unfortunately couldn't make it this morning. So I'm taking over from him and saying a few words before starting the session. Dr. Engineer Abiot Sinamo, Director General, ICT Sector, Ministry of Innovation and Technology, Mr. Mokhtar Yedali, African Union Commission, Head of Information Society Division, Mr. Andrew Sullivan, CEO, Internet Society, Adugna Necho, Internet Society Ethiopia Chapter President. We are also expecting Dr. Christian Bope, Chairman of Afrinic. He's arriving currently. He's probably at the airport, but I hope he'll be joining us later today. So for those who don't know me, I am Dawit Bekele, Regional Vice President for Africa for the Internet Society. Please allow me to say a few words about the genesis of this conference as well as its main objective before inviting the panelists of the opening session. This conference is organized by Internet Society, but it could not happen without the great support of the Ministry of Innovation and Technology and many organizations who helped us in various ways, including by sponsoring us. You see their logos somewhere. I forgot where it is, but I won't mention them here, but I hope that there will be another opportunity to thank them for supporting us. The idea of this conference came up in Mauritius last August at the AFPIF meeting that Internet Society organizes every year. Robel Kitaba, that you see over there, who is an Ethiopian working for Facebook in Ireland, and I were discussing, and we said, well, Ethiopia is changing in the right direction, and what can we do to help the change in the ICT sector and in internet in general, in particular. Then we quickly agreed that we should start with discussion because before we do things, we have first to agree as a country what needs to be done. And we didn't have many opportunities like this in the past. So we first convinced our organizations, Internet Society, Facebook, and then other organizations who thought that this is a good idea. And here we are today with hopefully more than 250 people participating in this meeting. from all over Ethiopia, because we have people coming from Gambella, from Jijiga, from Arbament, and from Bekele, and from all around the country. We have also people from the government, from the private sector, from the civil society, from the academia, etc. And also have experts from around the world. I see people here from Canada, from the US, from many countries in Africa, and from England, from Ireland, and from many other countries of the world. But this meeting is about Ethiopia, and it is the main actors here are the Ethiopians. This is why we have interpretation in Amharic, and in fact, I encourage Ethiopians to speak in Amharic because they are more comfortable, as I am, speaking in our language. ስለዚህ አማርኛ መናገር ለምትፈልጉ በአማርኛ መናገር መፈቀድ ብቻ ሳይሆን ይፈልጋል። So I think this meeting happens at a very good moment. It happened a day after the celebration of the 124th anniversary of Adwa. And I hope that the spirit of Adwa will follow us in this meeting. 124 years ago, Ethiopia had won one of the colonial powers of Europe, not because it was more powerful, but it was united, but also because it used everybody's creativity and everybody's inputs. Some of you might know that Eteget Aitu was instrumental in winning the war because she managed to control the water source of the Italians, and as a result, they couldn't survive and had to abandon the war. There are others as well who contributed in their own ways. And I think the way we can do great things with the internet is by using everybody's contribution, everybody's creativity. And I hope that this is the beginning of an era where we will all contribute so that this internet, that is a great tool for development, that I have to say have been underutilized in Ethiopia, will become a major tool for our development in the years to come. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker in the opening panel, Adugna Necho, who is the president of the Internet Society Ethiopian chapter. For those who are not aware, that was launched just yesterday. So I think they deserve a round of applause. Adugna is the president of Internet Society Ethiopian chapter. He's also head of the hardware and networking department of electrical and computer engineering faculty at Bahar Dar University. He received his BSc degree from Adama Science and Technology University in 2013 and his MSc degree from Bekele University in 2018 in computer engineering. Over the course of his professional career, he has published 2 research publications in IoT and been awarded different certificates such as Machine Learning, Introduction to Network Operations, Building Community Network, CCNA, Google IT Support Professional Certificate. Adugna, you have the floor.
አመሰግናለሁኝ ዶክተር ዳዊት ሚስተር አንድሪው ሱሌቫን የኢንተርኔት ሶሳይቲ ፕሬዚዳንት እና ዋና ስራ አስፈጻሚ ዶክተር ዳዊት በቀለ የኢንተርኔት ሶሳይቲ አፍሪካ ሪጂናል ምክትል ፕሬዚዳንት እና የጉባኤው ሊቀመንበር ጥሪ የተደረገላቸው የዚህ ጉባኤ ተሳታፊዎች ክቡራንና ክቡራት በቅድሚያ Ready? አመሰግናለሁ ሚስተር አንድሪው ሱሊቫን የኢንተርኔት ሶሳይቲ ፕሬዚዳንት እና ዋና ስራ አስፈጻሚ ዶክተር ዳዊት በቀለ የኢንተርኔት ሶሳይቲ የአፍሪካ ሪጂናል ምክትል ፕሬዚዳንት እና የዚህ ጉባኤ ሊቀመንበር ጥሪ የተደረገላቸው የዚህ ጉባኤ ተሳታፊዎች ክቡራንና ክቡራት በቅድሚያ ኢንተርኔት ሶሳይቲ ኢትዮጵያ ቻፕተርን ወክዬ ንግግር እንዳደርግ እድሉን ስላገኘሁኝ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ይህ ጉባኤ የኢትዮጵያ ቻፕተር በተመሰረተበት ወቅት የሚካሄድ በመሆኑ ቻፕተሩ መስራቾቹና ብዙ ልምድና ተሞክሮ ስለሚያገኙበት ደስታችን የላቀ ነው ክቡራንና ክቡራት ሀገራችን ኢትዮጵያ 110 ሚሊዮን የሚጠጋ የህዝብ ብዛት ያላት የሰው ልጅ መገኛ የራሷ ፊደልና ዘመን መቁጠሪያ ያላት የተለያየ ባህል እምነትና የተንሰላሰለ ማንነት ያላቸው የህብረተሰብ ክፍሎች የሚኖሩባት ሀገር ነች አስደናቂ የቱሪስት መስህቦችና ተስማሚ የአየር ንብረት ባለቤትም ጭምር ነች ከታሪክ እንደምንረዳው የሰው ልጅ ስልጣኔን ከጀመሩት ቀደምት ሀገራት አንዷ እንደሆነች እንረዳለን በዘመናችንም ይህንን ስልጣኔ ማስቀጠል የሚቻለው ከዓለም ሀገራት ጋር የሚያስተሳስሩ በእውቀትና ቴክኖሎጂ ሽግግር ላይ የተመሰረቱ የዛሬውን መሰል ጉባኤያት ሲኖሩን ብቻ ነው ክቡራንና ክቡራት ኢንተርኔት በዓለማችን በሰው ልጅ አኗኗር ዘይቤ ውስጥ በተለያየ መንገድ ከፍተኛ ተጽዕኖ እየፈጠሩ ካሉ የቴክኖሎጂ ውጤቶች አንዱና ዋናው ነው ሀገራችንም ለኢንተርኔት ብዙ መዋዕለ ንዋይ እያፈሰሰች ቢሆንም ከዘርፉ ማግኘት ያለባትን ያህል ተጠቃሚ ሆናለች ብለን አናምንም ከኢንተርኔት ተደራሽነት መሰረተ ልማት መስፋፋት አስተማማኝነት እና ደህንነት ጋር በተያያዘ ብዙ ያልተሰሩ ስራዎች እንዳሉ ግልጽ ነው ለዚህም እንደ ምክንያት የሚጠቀሱት አንደኛው የህብረተሰቡ ለዘርፉ ያለው የግንዛቤ ማነስ ሁለተኛ በቂ መሰረተ ልማት ሊዘረጉ የሚችሉ ተቋማት አለመኖር በሶስተኛ ደረጃነት ሊያሰሩ የሚችሉ የህግ ማዕቀፎች አለመኖር ናቸው የዛሬው ጉባኤም በኢንተርኔት ችግሮችና ተዛማጅ ነገሮች እንዲሁም መፍትሄዎቻቸው ላይ ተወያይቶ መሰረታዊ ችግሮችን ነቅሶ በማውጣት እና መፍትሄዎቻቸውን በመጠቆም ለመንግስትና ተባባሪ አካላት ተገቢ የሆነ ግብዓት እንደሚያስገኝ እምነቴ የጸና ነው የኢትዮጵያ ቻፕተርም ከመንግስትና ተባባሪ አካላት ጋር በመሆን የኢንተርኔት ተደራሽነት ፍጥነት አስተማማኝነት ግንዛቤ ፈጠራ እንዲሁም የማህበረሰቡን ችግር ሊፈቱ በሚችሉ ፕሮጀክቶች ላይ አብሮ በትጋት ለመስራት ቁርጠኛ ነው ኢንተርኔት ለሁሉም አመሰግናለሁ
I could have done that on your behalf, Mr. Bekele.
I'm sorry, I was trying to make sure that everybody has the interpretation tool. Thank you, Adugna. I would like to call now upon Internet Society CEO and President, Mr. Andrew Sullivan, who is President and Chief Executive Officer of Internet Society. Andrew has worked on internet infrastructure and standards since 2001. In 2012, he joined DINE, later called Oracle DINE, to establish DINE Labs and then to manage the DNS development and architecture departments. His activities in the area led him to being appointed to the Internet Architecture Board, IAB, in 2013. Before joining DINE, Andrew was a principal contributor to the Variant Issues Project, VIP, undertaken by the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN. The VIP was an effort to bring together several different previous efforts in support of internationalized domain names. The positive results of VIP are being expressed every day through internet scale internationalized domain names. And this has helped in particular for Ethiopia as well, because Ethiopia has its own alphabet, which can now be used on domain names thanks to international domain names. Thank you, Andrew.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dawit. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, most importantly, friends and colleagues, especially those from the Internet Society Ethiopia chapter, whom I want to recognize particularly today since it's a new chapter. It is a real pleasure and honor for me to be here in a country enriched with history and culture and tradition and diversity as Ethiopia is. Thank you for inviting me. Part of the reason it's such a pleasure to be here is because this is both an exciting and a delicate time, both for the internet in Ethiopia and for the internet more generally. It is exciting because of the opportunities that the internet offers to Ethiopia right now. The opportunities have never been greater. But it is delicate because our current discussion around the internet has changed and we are at risk of losing its many benefits. Now, to show you what I mean, I want to spend a little bit of time looking back and thinking about how we got here. And then I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the ways the future might unfold. The internet is not an old technology. The first document in the Request for Comment, or RFC series, that's the series that documents the standards of the internet, it was published in 1969. The first message on the ARPANET, which preceded the internet, was also sent in 1969, and I showed up in 1969 too, so I am invested in the idea that it's not that old. The ancestor of the internet then itself is only 50 years old. Now, the ARPANET was an experimental network. Over time, it gradually interconnected with other networks. Together, they grew into the internet. This is an important thing to remember about the internet. We talk about it as though it is one thing and that it was invented or designed at a particular period of time. In fact, it is many networks. They're all working together and all interconnected. That is why it's an internet or a network of networks. Also, it was not a single invention. It was rather a group of technologies that all came together with a lot of conscious guidance into a thing greater than the sum of its parts. That evolution had lots of influences, but there were a few critical pieces to it that I think made the internet into this near magical technology for human development that it is. One influence was the insight that the end point in the network, your application on your computer or your phone or whatever, knows more about what it is trying to do than the network does. So if you want to make an intelligent application, one that does what the users want it to, the intelligence about what to do needs to live at the end of the network, and the network needs to be neutral. This is the so-called end-to-end principle. And while it is sometimes cited as a kind of moral or policy principle, it is not. It is a discovery about what makes networked systems work better. If you want things to work better, believe in the end-to-end principle. Now, from that insight flowed two other benefits. First, for the network to be end-to-end, it had to be general purpose. Since nobody knew in advance what the application might send, the network had to transport whatever came along and be prepared for the things it had not been designed to carry. Second, it meant that the innovation could happen without permission. If the network does not know what an application might do, then the network has to keep out of the way and just transport the data as it is told. If it has to keep out of the way, then tomorrow you can invent a new thing and deploy it out on the internet, and other people just use it and it will just work. This pattern has, in fact, been the thing that has made the internet such a great source of positive development. It lets people who have a common problem work on that problem and solve it for themselves. Now, with these benefits, what we see is that the internet provides us with a way forward, a way to work together to deliver the best things for the human society. And it is that development of the human society that I think this meeting is about. I'm going to talk a little bit more in a few minutes about how these things work together, but I wanted to lay out this initial vision in order to tantalize you with this idea of the meeting that we're having here this week, and the way that it will take us forward into the development of the internet here in Ethiopia over the next several years. It's a super exciting time. I really appreciate being here, and I look forward to the rest of the meeting this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. I think you gave us a very good overview of how the internet came to be and why it is important that we understand the reason why it is a great technology, and that is something that we have to keep in mind for the rest of the meeting. I would like to call now Mokhtar Yadali, my good friend from the African Union, who is head of the African Union Commission's Internet Society Division. Am I correct? Or okay, because I see something else here. Previous experience includes senior positions with North African telecom providers and the world's largest operator of commercial satellites. He's a telecom and computer engineer with an MBA in international business. He graduated from George Washington University, Amity University, and Institute of Informatics. He has more than 25 years of international experience in the field of communication and networks management, resource evaluation, and policy preparation. Mokhtar, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dawit, and thank you, everybody. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here in Addis Ababa. I am a citizen of Addis Ababa, by the way, for those who don't know. And I look so Ethiopian that most of the time people think that I am really, really Ethiopian. The only thing that my Amharic is so bad. It's so tinish. I have the honor and pleasure to be sitting at the high table with two people I know very well. Andrew, who has actually, first time we met when he just got appointed a few years back. And specifically, Dr. Abiot Sinamo, who is my accomplice in sharing the ministerial conference in Sharm el-Sheikh last year. He's been a very good chair and we have done a very good job by adopting many resolutions that are now being implemented by the African Union Commission. Thank you again. And welcome back to the setup. Now, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a pleasure for me to be here again. We are meeting here today as African internet actors and as a partners of Africa and friends of Africa to create awareness among policymakers, regulators, business, technologies, and potential entrepreneur about internet model, technology, and organization, and create the foundation of robust internet ecosystem in Ethiopia. Just for the history, when I first time came here, it was 10 years ago, I wanted to have a SIM card and asked the African Union to provide me with a SIM card. They said, let's write a note verbal to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And it is my pleasure to see that now you can get your SIM card rather than anywhere we want it. And it's not only in the field of telecom, but also in the field of internet. My first time when I came here because I wanted to build a VSAT network for the African Union to be able to access the internet because they couldn't maintain the 64 kilobits that have been provided by Necho Telecom on that point of time for the entire communication with the Commission. And now the African Union is provided with 10 gigahertz link within the Commission. And this is what I have seen happening in Ethiopia. I've seen and lived the development. I've seen things coming from the growth from 64 kilobits per second to 10 gigabit. You see the difference between the two. And this is what I wanted to emphasize on, and I wanted to bring my support today to see that this thing will continue to happen within Ethiopia. The matter of internet and its governance are at the center of the African Union Commission activities. And given the objective you have set for this conference, I hope that everything that will be done here will be also replicated in our member state. We wish that every country within the African Union systems or space will be having the same conference you are having here. So your recommendations that you will be making will be certainly going to other countries. And right away, I would like to assure you with the African Union support in taking this handover and making sure that we will be having conferences like this in every African countries. Now, internet, as Andrew just mentioned, has a lot of things. From governance point of view, it encompasses several aspects relating to management and administration of the internet and associated resources. It affects a wide range of social and political issues, including who gets to participate in the online economies issues, and so on, issues of cybersecurity. And now, the matter of the internet governance is actually in the heart of the African Union concern. Indeed, since internet have changed the way we live, the way we do things, the way we participate, it represents the greatest opportunity for us as Africans to make sure that we are participating in the digital economy. However, with great things always comes great risk. And the issue of security is always coming in. And most of our leaders are really concerned about what is happening over internet, fake news, inviting to strike, a lot of things that is happening that actually compromising the security and stability of the countries. But the solution is not shut down. The solution, and I repeat it again, is not shutdowns. 5 years ago, Dawit and I decided to really have a session for our leadership on internet shutdowns. And that was the first one that is happening. It was very daring. But as Dawit was saying, if you don't dare, sometimes you don't get anything. But again, I'm repeating, the internet shutting down is not really the solution for the issues we are facing. In one hand, having the internet for our development, in the other hand, make sure that it's not used for something bad. As you certainly know, when internet is shut down, everything stops. Specifically, when you are used now to a lot of things that is happening. Report has shown that internet has been shut down deliberately in more than 200 times in 33 separate countries, including UK. So it's not only in Africa that we shut down things, right? The majority of all shutdowns Fortunately, again, it's not Asia, because that stereotype that we Africans are the ones shutting down everything is not happening. Yes, the longest shutdown happened in Africa, that's fine. But we are not the most really, the number of shutdown in Africa, in the world is not actually in Africa. But my response to those people who are saying that we need to make sure that our internet is used for security, my response again, I repeat it again, is not shut down. And I will repeat that what Benjamin Franklin said in 1976. He said, those who will give up an essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve no liberty, nor safety. This is very important things. So our solution is to find out the way to make sure that internet is used safely for our countries, for our development, but at the same time, it is safe. And I think everybody now is taking into consideration the fact that the safety in internet is very important and crucial. We have sensed it as an African Union, we have sensed the importance of internet, and that's why we started by building the internet exchange point systems with the collaboration of Axis. That was one of the biggest actually projects that ever happened. And it has cut down the price of internet and has increased the quality. We also have taken over the African Internet Governance Forum that we are running every year. And currently we are running one of the biggest programs called PRIDA, which is actually really running into capacity building on internet governance. And recently we have adopted our strategy on digital transformation for Africa, just adopted by the head of state. And our objective with that strategy is actually we have vowed that by 2030, all our people should be digitally empowered and able to access safely and securely at least to a 6 megabits per second all the time where they live in the continent at an affordable price of no more than 1 cent a minute per megabit through a smart device manufactured in Africa to access to basic e-services and content of which at least 30% is developed and hosted in the African continent by Africans. This is actually a very ambitious program that we have put together, and we hope that it will be taken into considerations. And I hope also by during these 2 days, you will be coming out with a specific recommendation to help us really to implement the strategy. With that few words, I would like to thank you for your kind attention and I hope you a very nice and good, useful deliberation. Thank you very much. I had to finish on time, otherwise this will fall on me. So I had to do multitasking here, hold this and hold that and flip the papers. But I made it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mokhtar. And I'm sorry that this thing is not big enough for all the mics. But I think you and I are used to working in very hard conditions, and this is going to be the first one. I would like now to call upon our guest of honor from the ministry, Dr. Abiot Sinamo Boltena, Dr. Engineer Abiot is currently Director General of ICT sector under the Ministry of Innovation and Technology of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. He got his PhD degree from Oldenburg University, Germany, for the specializations in the areas of intelligent systems and ERP systems. He has assumed the post of Dean of School of Computing in Bekele University and delivered several courses for graduate and postgraduate students for the last 17 years. He also advised a number of students' MSc thesis works and also co-advised 2 PhD works. He has published several papers in the areas of natural language processing, machine learning, artificial intelligence, knowledge representation, cloud computing, computer vision, software testing, ERP adoption, and etc., in which he's interested for further his research careers. Thank you, Dr. Abiot, for coming here.
Thank you, Dr. Dawit, and good morning for all of you, and happy anniversary. It is an anniversary for all freedom fighters, and also for all who just want us to have a free society. I just want to say this before my formal speech. So, dear Mr. Andrew Sullivan, CEO and President of Internet Society, Mr. Mokhtar Idali, African Union Commission Internet Society Department, Dr. Dawit, Chair of this meeting. Good morning to all of you, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the first Ethiopian Internet Development Conference. Ethiopia has been among the fastest growing economies in Africa, with an annual growth rate consistently well above the African and global average. This impressive performance contrasts with the slow progress in structural transformation, lack of economic diversification, and weak productive capacity. Essentially, Ethiopia is still an agrarian economy. Over 70% of the population relies on farming and rural economic activities for employment, income, and the population income and livelihood. Over 84% of the country's export consists of primary products generated from agriculture, and the share of manufacturing is still less than 6%, much lower than the African and low-income countries' average, which is 16%. The country is not endowed with natural resources, and as a landlocked country, it suffers from structural impediments and logistical challenges. And yet, from 2003 to 2013, the growth of Ethiopia's real GDP averaged 10.8% per year, enabling the country to double its per capita GDP, reaching US $800 in 2017, and reducing extreme poverty by half. The main driver of this unprecedented growth rate has been the government's bold and ambitious economic development strategy, which incorporated, among other things, a big push in public investment, particularly in agriculture, economic infrastructure consisting of roads and energy and social infrastructure covering education and health. Building on these recent achievements, in 2019, the Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, launched the new economic reform blueprint, referred to as homegrown economic reform, which aims to propel Ethiopia into economic prosperity by 2030. The economic reform will focus on 5 key sectors where Ethiopia has the greatest potential, namely agriculture, manufacturing, mining, tourism, and information and communication technology. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, technological change has been the primary driver of social development, productivity, improvements, and inclusive growth. The world is once again at the dawn of the next technological change. Countries are at the different stages and have different opportunities available to them in this new paradigm. A critical first step to ensure the approach selected for digital transformation is treated as a means to a country's national development vision and priorities. Therefore, the success of earmarked macroeconomic, structural, and sectoral reforms are largely dependent on information and communication technology. In addition, it is clear to us that ICT will enhance public sector service delivery by eliminating inefficient government bureaucracy and curb corruption, which are some of the main structural and institutional constraints that we need to address in order to increase productivity and growth. The economic reform blueprint aims to build a resilient and diversified middle income level economy in 10 years. This outcome will require an inclusive digital economy with diversification, technological progress, and innovation. The blueprint identified 6 constraints that limited ICT penetration, namely limited access to reliable electricity, limited access to affordable and reliable high-speed internet, and high cost of IT equipment, lack of digital ID and poor digital payment system, underdeveloped e-commerce system, limited access to finance for ICT entrepreneurs and startups, limited digital literacy and future-oriented advanced skills, and public sector monopoly in telecom and energy, restrictive regulations for new startup, and traditional industrial policy may be ill-suited to innovation. Our efforts in this aspect will be geared towards exploring new sources of productivity and job creation and leveraging on the rapidly growing educated young labor force. In this regard, a digital transformation strategy has been developed in alignment to the 2019 Homegrown Economic Reform Agenda. This guiding government documents aim to correct macroeconomic imbalances, address structural impediments to inclusive prosperity, and highlight sectoral priorities. Ultimately, to develop an inclusive, knowledge-based, and prosperous society. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as you are all aware, Ethiopia's digital economy is at an early stage of development with few private sector players offering digital service and some government-driven digitization initiatives. At the same time, Ethiopia has had a highly regulated and restrictive telecommunication environment. Our reform will aim to liberalize the sector and to privatize the incumbent Ethio Telecom. Our role as government is to ensure that we create an enabling environment for the sector to thrive and open up the many opportunities that others have been able to realize from similar reforms. Through this process, we are hoping to learn the international best practices and also from experiences from the region and beyond. I am informed that this event is graced by regional and global experts in various technical fields of the internet, and it is my hope that they will share their wealth of knowledge to help us with 2 critical aspects. First is to learn from the experiences of others, and so that we are informed to make better decisions in the process of opening up the market. Second is to have a better understanding of the development opportunities that we should anticipate and prepare for in our respective individual roles. Internet coverage has grown in Ethiopia at an annual rate of 45%, which is slower than per nations. Ethiopia has also evidenced a significant growth in cellular subscription, with a proportion reaching 60% in 2017, with 41% active subscription. But again, mobile adoption is still low compared to peer nations. A similar pattern can be observed for broadband access, where active mobile broadband subscriptions stand at 7.1%, compared to an average of 24.8% in the region. Key challenges identified are gaps across network coverage, affordability, and quality. We are also aware that providing connectivity for the rural and remote areas is often a challenge due to issues related to business viability and sustainability using the traditional connectivity models. In this respect, we are going to modernize WordaNet to enhance rural connectivity and rural public internet access centers. I am also made aware that there are experts in attendance that are happy to share with us alternative and complementary approach designed around community-based networks. It is my hope that the information and discussions that came out of this conference will help us identify and chart a way forward for connecting the unconnected in rural, remote, and underserved areas. We are also keen on promoting e-commerce and digitization of the various services such as the financial and logistics sectors. To this end, we shall be aggressively looking to implement e-government service with the goal of digitizing all e-service within the next 10 years. E-government is key to improving government efficiency in areas such as revenue collection. Ethiopia's tax collection to GDP ratio is 37%, below the African average, which is 17%, which indicates that a formalization of medium and small-sized entrepreneurs has huge potential to increase government revenues. In addition, e-government digitization plays a key role in promoting local content development and e-commerce. Despite Ethiopia's large population and domestic market, very few organizations are providing e-commerce service in Ethiopia. Ethiopian products such as coffee, textile, and leather goods enjoy a favorable reputation internationally, and e-commerce could open new markets, an important component to unlocking e-commerce in digital payments. In 2018, 12% of Ethiopians made or received digital payment, 4% hold debit cards, and 0.3%, which are foreigners and diaspora, holds credit cards, as Ethiopia doesn't issue one of such approach. Today, and especially in Africa, mobile telecommunications have revolutionized digital payments using mobile financial services. As such, we are yet fully realize the application of mobile financial services in comparison to our neighbors. However, it is our hope that this will become a reality as the mobile space is opened up. I have been informed that there are experts from neighboring countries such as Kenya, where they have made significant progress on these issues of e-government, local content development, and mobile finance services. And it is my expectation that we shall learn from such experiences and others in attendance to enable us advance on this important matter. Regulations designed for pre-internet industries is a poor fit for the pace and scale of the internet. By having a new ICT regulatory approach, we hope to help ICT companies deliver stronger accountability, as well as give more freedom to innovate and catch up to the pace and scale of the current internet. We identify that the government cannot work alone in this, and we hope to work with non-government ICT stakeholders and companies to create and iterate over on a more enabling regulation framework that will accelerate the ICT sector. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Ethiopia, like many other countries in the region, has rapidly growing educated and young labor force. As a government, we are keen to ensure that we create modern day opportunities for our youth and citizens as a whole. To this end, and under the economic reforms, we shall invest on ICT literacy and advanced vocational and tertiary education to ensure that our youth is able to compete in the new market. in the new market environment and take advantage of the emerging opportunities resulting from these reforms. In this regard, the Ministry of Innovation and Technology has established a separate directorate to introduce digital programs and help 70% of Ethiopians become digitally literate by 2025. In addition, as a government, we shall embark on developing ICT parks where the youth can engage in innovation. At the same time, we shall be working with key stakeholders to develop the ICT ecosystem to ensure that innovations emerging from the ICT parks and other spaces are able to find a conducive marketplace. Based on pragmatic approach, the government will consider best practices suiting to the Ethiopian context without being dogmatic to a certain ideology. In this regard, the government identified, in addition to itself, the private sector, non-governmental organizations, and universities as key players in the national economy. Accordingly, we warmly invite internet society to play its key role in the internet development endeavors of my country, such that the effort by internet will contribute to realize a prosperous Ethiopia. Finally, I would like to conclude by appreciating the internet society and the sponsors and organizers who have put together their time and resource to organize this event here in Addis Ababa. It is our sincere hope that the deliberations will provide us with additional insights that will guide our transformation and reform efforts to become a digital economy by the year 2030. Thank you for thinking about Ethiopia during this crucial juncture. Your partnership and support is appreciated. I would also like to encourage you to take time outside of meeting to discover and enjoy the beautiful Addis and our country and our unique culture. It is my great pleasure to officially declare that the first Ethiopian Internet Development Conference officially opened. I look forward to reading the outcomes from your deliberations and engage with you in the days ahead. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Engineer Abiot. I would like to say a special thank you to Dr. Abiot because he had to leave an important meeting to come here. I think it was very critical for this meeting to have his words because, the main reason for this meeting is because there are changes in this country. And it is important that we hear from, as we say, from the horse's mouth, what's happening. And I think it's an important input for this meeting. Before the break, I would like to recognize a few people. First, I would like to recognize the new Director General of INSA, who is here. Thank you so much for coming here, Dr. Shumate Guzau. This also shows the changes that is happening because in previous meetings, we didn't see INSA, especially the Director General, represented at these kind of meetings. I would like to recognize also Dr. Christian Bopé, who is chairman of AFRINIC. He was supposed to be in the opening panel, but unfortunately he just arrived from his country, RDC, from Kinshasa. So I think I will give him some time to breathe, and then after the break, we will give him a few minutes so that he can speak. I would like to also recognize Professor Ndemo. Professor Ndemo was the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Communication. I hope that I have the name right, of Kenya. It's a big honor to have him here because Kenya did really a big leap forward in the area of telecommunications and ICT, while he was the permanent secretary of the communication ministry in Kenya. So I will learn a lot from him, and I encourage you to talk to him whenever you have the opportunity during the breaks, etc. So I think without further ado, let us have, I hope that we are ready for the picture. I don't know how many of us will be able to fit in the picture, but I think it's an honor to have Dr. Abiot here. So before he leaves, let's have the picture. I think here? Yes. So we are going to be here. Some people can stand at the front, I guess. So we will do our best. Maybe all of us will not fit, but I will give priority maybe to Dr. Shumate, Professor Demo, and the dignitaries around here. Yeah, Olaf. Yeah, I think we are, how do you call? የውጭ ሀገር ዜጎችን ስለምንቀበል we are going to give priority to our guests from abroad, but others are also very welcome to come here, and also those coming from the regions, all the way from the regions. Okay, I know, for example, Gamachu from Gambella. It's a very long way, so he has to come here. Nisha, please come over here. I know you are shy, but we want you in the picture.